motives. I'll tell you, folks, it's playing Super Nintendo video games. That's what we're doing here today.
Super Nintendo video games.
Super Nintendo video cons.
My father played Super Nintendo video games, and his father before him. It's one of those like multi-generational like families where like they were all like super young teen pregnancies, so they're like, I've got 8 generations of my family all in one room. It's like a TikTok thing. Have you seen those?
The TikToks about sitting down with your family? No, I didn't. I didn't know
No,
there was a
no,
genre.
no. There's like one where it's like there'd be like a young kid, like a 5-year-old, be like, "Hey, mom," and then somebody would come in, and then that person would say, "Hey, mom," and then the next generation, and they just keep doing that until like they're all, and it's like 20 generations of people in one room.
Uh, no, I have not seen that. Not at all.
Yeah, not 20, but you know.
You're saying you do not have 20 relatives that played the Super Nintendo?
No, not just relatives, like a direct lineage living today.
Oh, oh, oh. So you need to seek out your relatives and teach them to play the
Yeah,
Super Nintendo.
I should have said each person says, "Hey, mom." It's their mom. So people keep coming in, and it's like all the generations that they can fit in one room together. Like
That's beautiful.
I tried to do one of those videos, but I said, "Hey, Dad," and nobody came. Woof, woof. It's
Uh,
we're getting real, folks.
yeah, that's right. We're both deliriously tired. We took last week off so that we could become more deranged.
Hmm.
And it's only going up from here, folks. Hello, Death by Kittens, Starman 1987, K Weirick, only if you're nice. Thank you for swinging by tonight. We are going to be doing some cool shit here. We are waiting for let's just say a surprise. But if you're unfamiliar with the stream, if this is your first time here, I am June, that's Mike. We play games together, usually old stuff or weird stuff. We like playing translations, mods, and boy, do we have a doozy for you tonight. Mike, what are we up to?
Oh, well, I just realized I had the wrong microphone. Give me half a second.
You are a dirty man. Near enough, howdy howdy.
Right, let me see if it's right now. There we go, and then hopefully XSplit follows suit. Uh, so I think we've talked a little bit about like FastROM conversions. It's probably been quite a while, though. There are basically processors in Super Nintendo chips. They're commonly referred to, and we'll get a much better explanation about this in a minute. Commonly referred to as like fast ROM and slow ROM, and a lot of games it's like just like 1 or 2 megahertz difference between the speed of these chips. But for a lot of games, that can mean the difference between it chugging or it moving at a decent pace. And what people in the community have been finding out is that a lot of these games were actually coded for fast ROM and then downgraded due to cost saving measures in the cartridge. Though there might be like 1 or 2 lines of code that convert this thing down to a slow ROM game and cause those slowdowns that you see. Um, Kando did who was one of the main I don't know why the word that's coming to my head is antagonists for the Star Fox Exploration Showcase. Did a lot of the or did just a lot of work. Speaking of the devil himself, he just popped into chat. I'll have to readjust the cameras.
While Mike is fiddle fucking around, let me just say shout out to 4 or 5 Wits and Death by Kitten for subscribing. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Y'all are, your contribution is appreciated. Also, I'm trying to buy Mike some time here because he's trying to set some shit up.
I did. No, I clicked a button. We're good.
Oh, god damn it. Okay, well, you're fine then.
Hello, welcome.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Not a lot. Do you have the correct SimAnt one?
Yeah, let me drop. You want me to DM it to you?
Yeah, that'd be great. That's the only other one that I think we might pop in and take a look at.
Yep, got it right.
Sweet. I was just giving a super uneducated breakdown of the difference between fast ROM and slow ROM.
Yeah, it's up to 33% faster. But in the end of it, it's not like the Super FX upgrade because the Super FX upgrade you went from 10 megahertz to 21 megahertz. So you're talking 11 million more cycles per second, I guess it is, or whatever the megahertz are. But when it comes to fast ROM, you're going from 2 point something to 3 point something. So, what it really helps with is the bottlenecks when a lot of sprites and objects and stuff are on the screen and things start to slow down. That's where it'll push through and kind of stop things from slowing down. Not all the way, not all the time, but a good decent portion. And a lot of people ask me, does it make the game faster? And no, it doesn't go faster because everything's still limited by scan lines, and the rest of the system is, tuned to their normal clock speed. So everything's still synchronized.
Yeah, this isn't inherently going to make like a 30 FPS game 60 FPS or anything
Yeah,
like that.
exactly. Yeah.
But you've been cranking these out really fast.
I found
How?
I found a decent way to do it, and the trick is to disassemble the game. And to disassemble it, I found a program where I can actually play the game, and while I'm playing it, this program called Distinguish will actually log what I'm doing. And as I execute different things and make the enemies run their routines, and it starts to log the data as, hey, this is code. So once I go through the game, and I usually use, a health cheat just so I can go through the game and let all the enemies do everything, so that any potential code that could run in the game, I get logged. And so that's the first step is to make the full disassembly. Get at the end. Of course I do the deaths, the game overs, continues, two-player stuff. But once I have the disassembly, it's pretty easy to convert it. There's curveballs. Pretty much every game has a different curveball they hit at me, but I'm getting better at it. They're not stumping me like they used to. But other ones are pretty simple, pretty quick, decent conversions. You just have to tell the games to run in different banks, and you have to tell one particular CPU register to always be one, the number one. And once you do that, make sure the game stays in the fast ROM banks, which is anything bank 80 and up. And that's basically it. Once I figured out all the pieces, how to debug it and how to check when it's going into slow ROM. It's just, I guess all the stuff I learned over the years, it finally got put to good use with this.
Yeah, I know. I did like not much of a playthrough of Simant, and like, yeah, you asked me if I wanted to run it, and I was kind of thinking that this was going to be like multiple hours of video that you were going to need, and it was going to be something that was going to take a while. And then I think you're like, yeah, I've got enough. And then 20 minutes later, you posted it on Twitter.
It
Uh,
was like that at first when I first started doing it. I didn't have a faster way to do it, but now that I'm learning to use Distinguish more, I can jump to the next set of code that hasn't been uncovered and determine. And I can pretty quickly at this point determine whether or not that's legitimate code that should be uncovered or not. It just makes it a lot easier. It still takes a good half hour, 45 minutes sometimes to go through. But with the amount of code you uncovered, there wasn't that much. It's only a 1 megabyte game, so it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, that's great. Give me half a second to readjust the camera here, and then it's
so I,
funny how like adding one more person to a Discord can like throw everything that it's set off.
And let me know if I
Candace,
ever start rambling,
No,
while I
no, no,
talk,
not at all.
talk
This
about
is super interesting.
we're here for that. I was going to say we do have a few people that came in late and were wondering. Kando, could you maybe give like a brief overview of who you are and what kind of stuff you like to work on?
Yep, my name is Kando Wantu. My real name's Paul. I'm 38 years old. Excuse me, 38 years old. I've been into emulation since probably I was, 13, 14, around there when it, started to realize that stuff existed. And then ROM hacks really blew my mind when I was able to play the same game that I knew and loved with a whole new experience. And I've just been enjoying them over the years. But once the Nintendo Giga League came out, the Star Fox source code came out with it, and one guy, his name's VL Tone, he was able to do some camera modifications to it, and he told me how he did that. And from that, I just started digging at it and started messing around with stuff. And I was determined to make that toggleable so that I can go from this new view that he created back to the normal game. Once I figured that out, I said, well, why can't I maybe toggle some weapons and maybe toggle some new ships, and just kind of snowballed from there. And I ended up, it took about 2 years and a few months to come out with Star Fox EX, which I'm sure a lot of you have seen. If you haven't, check it out. Star Fox EX, 2.5 years of love. It really, maybe 2 years and 3 months. But from there, I was started to do these little mods for other games, just kind of doing space jumping and kind of exploration mode modifications for games. And it hit me while I was doing them that I could change a few things and maybe get FastROM working. And from there, it's so much fun to do that, I have decent downtime at work, and at night I'll do sometimes 3, 4, 5 games a day. Just kind
That
of
is
breeze through them.
incredible.
Yeah,
That
that's
is an
wild.
incredible amount of games. Wow.
And to go back to the Star Fox EX for a moment, I don't think it's an overstatement to say that's essentially what came out of that as a brand new game. I mean, it has the
Yeah.
original content in there, but there's a full new set of levels, more features than I could possibly list at the moment.
It's easy when I didn't have a goal, and it was just like, okay, what can I mess with next? And then, okay, let me make this a feature.
I'm hoping
I
there's
really
maybe. I was just gonna say, I'm hoping there's maybe a scenario. Oh, it makes you go in order. I was hoping there's a scenario that already had a ton of ants.
Oh.
But honestly, even just like digging around, I can already tell the difference.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
that
yeah.
was game exist. I just couldn't believe how long it took to save a game. What was it, like 2 minutes,
That
3
was
minutes to save a game?
yeah. It's like go make a sandwich kind of time.
Incredible. It was like loading Doom back on my 386 PC.
But yeah, I mean, I know like anybody who watched the stream like last week, it might be hard to tell, but like I played a bunch since then, and this is like way faster. I have to see how quick it is to save now. Can't save during game. This is probably the wrong mode to be trying that.
I gotta give it to you for how much of Cement you actually did play through. I mean, that is one boring game.
I don't know. I was kind of getting into it a little bit.
Pick up the food, drop it in. Pick up the food, drop it in.
I mean, I think like that's. I don't think I really had to do all of that. It was mostly just like a. What are you gonna do while you're waiting for ants to breed? I could just like sit back or
Yeah.
help them out
Got a
little
couple
bit.
people in. You've got a couple people in the chat saying you've got buzzing going on in the audio, and I'm not sure.
Okay, I thought that was
Ooh.
just in my. I thought that was just in my headphones. It
I'll
may
turn
actually
down mine
be.
just in case that's me.
You're not lighting up. I don't think it came from you.
I'm getting intermittent buzzing too. Just turn it
Oh.
up a little louder. You can hear it.
Of course, I'm not hearing anything, so I'm not either.
Not
There's
on
a
the
noise.
not on the Discord stream, but on the Twitch stream. The buzzing is coming
I
through.
zeroed out the game audio, so let's see if it.
Miranov says specifically in the right channel.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting to. So I'm not sure where that's coming from.
Let me mute myself, see if it goes away.
Okay. Oh my god, digging is like stupid fast.
I'm not hearing the buzzing anymore. I wonder if it is unfortunately coming from Kando.
Yeah, it may be. I'm not hearing anything either. But I did also mute the game audio, so let me turn that back up.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's coming. It's definitely coming from the game. It's not Kando.
Okay, cool. Let's just mute the game then, so we can talk to Kando here. You're not losing much, folks. It's not the Simiant soundtrack is not like a banger or anything. It's fine.
Yeah, I think the audio is the least interesting part of what's happening here.
That's true.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and save the game.
Is the buzzing still there?
No, the
Nope.
buzzing was definitely coming from the game. I turned the game up and
Oh,
immediately heard it. Um,
good.
I think my oh, it may be I may need to restart the retro tank. It,
I can get
uh,
some HDMI interference sometimes on that thing.
yeah, yeah. Give me half a second.
Jaime says the ants are fast this week. Yeah, for sure. For sure, for sure. Oh, Candy's in the chat. Let's go. That's already saving like 3 to 4 times faster than I think we were watching the clock last time. It was like 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, it's definitely faster. I don't think like I don't. I think the an extra megahertz isn't gonna work miracles with this, but
People ask
I
me all the
mean,
time, like, how much faster are the games? And I'll be honest with you, I don't really test them after I convert them. I make sure they work, and then I'm done because I'm like sick of the game at that point.
no, I
for
think that's
sure.
fair.
I
Like
remember
Um,
last time we had.
today, I was gonna say today I did Stunt Race FX, and that definitely has about a 5 to 10% speed boost.
Oh, that's impressive because that game is a little slow.
Yeah,
so did you say that? Did I read correctly on Twitter? Is that one working on Mister, or is that one of the ones you're having issues with?
that one's not anything with Super FX and FastROM won't work on Mister.
Mm.
Okay, okay. That's. I was surprised. I feel like I launched Yoshi's Island the other day, and I was surprised that it loaded. But maybe
Yeah,
it's
because they don't use FastROM.
yeah. Let me see here.
I don't think any official Super Nintendo game uses Super FX and FastROM. I think it's because the original Super Nintendo motherboard, I
Oh,
think,
you
has a
mean anything with using those together wasn't working?
yeah, yeah.
Gotcha.
This is on your Super Nintendo itself, right? This isn't the Mister.
This is on the Super Nintendo and the FX pack.
I guess for the sake of the folks in the audience, these will usually work on emulators, right? Or at least most emulators.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So if you're playing with your RetroArcs or
yeah.
Hygen,
FastROM is one of the very basic Super Nintendo, like the fundamentals of the chip. So just about any emulator should emulate it properly.
have you played this one before, Mike?
Very briefly. I haven't spent a lot of time with it at all.
I love the way it looks.
As I move to expert.
The King's Gambit. Let's go, baby.
I feel like this one is gonna be hard without a side by side.
If you hit select and go to first person, you'll find it does go a little bit smoother.
Oh, wow. Okay, this game is... Wow. This game is very pretty in first person.
Yeah,
This is definitely faster than what I remember anyway.
The Dead Chicken says, love this so much, tractor trailer unlock is boss.
Oof.
This looks good.
Are those pickups like weapons, or what am I getting here?
They increase your boost and restore your damage bar. Hold Y to boost.
Oh, probably not in a turn, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, I may have had to use a few cheats to get through this one.
Okay, we're getting it now. Whoop. No, I'm good. I'm good at video games, I promise.
This is why they call you the expert.
They call me that?
They do now.
But I used to be the guy that my father would come to when he was stuck in a video game because I was most amazing at video games. But I'm starting to realize now that I suck at video games. That's why one of the first things I ever did when I was modding Star Fox was disable death.
Oh, this
I
might
can
be.
imagine. What's up?
There we go. Oh, there we go. No, I was thinking that was like a hairpin, and it was actually like a chicane. So I was trying to turn around, and I was just slamming into the wall.
Seems like L and R turn a bit better than the joypad.
Yeah, I'm gonna hop into the original real quick just to see.
Must be a fun comparison. If I remember it, the way I remember it as a kid, this game is not fast by default.
Hasn't there? I seem to remember seeing something where there were people not too long ago, maybe like 3 or 4 months ago, posting FastROM games to ROM hacking, the ROM hacking database, and they were like not actually what they said they were.
Seriously?
Yeah, I don't remember who was tweeting about that, but there's like some where it didn't actually do anything, or maybe they were SA1 hacks. I don't remember.
There's two ways to really check if something is fast ROM, and you can use MESEN, MESEN, for both of them. The first is you open up the game and you hold Control and press K, or just open it's called the register viewer, and there's a line that says fast ROM, and you can see it says true or false. Usually you want to check it while the game is running. And then the other thing is you check in the debugger and see where it's running code. You want to make sure that all code is running at the 800000 or higher. And as long as it's doing that, then you're good to go. Now,
Gotcha.
I have gone through some old Super Nintendo games like Choplifter 3 that was fast ROM from the developer, and looking at it, they did the interrupts, which basically run every frame to update the screen. It's kind of a routine that they have running every frame. That was not running in fast ROM, so I actually myself did a fix for that in another game, and they both seem to have speed improvements as well. Sloppy work on some original development.
That's awesome. So I feel like it's probably, especially not seeing these side by side, it's probably going to be difficult for people watching to be like, yeah, one's faster than the other. What I'm really noticing is just like sluggishness of the controls that I was not picking up on before this.
Yeah, the responsiveness of controls is one of the major benefits that people talk about.
Yeah, like it's like trying to like steer a dead horse down the track.
You have to remember, most of the work is being done on this game by the Super FX. It's doing all the rendering, all the calculations, but the Super Nintendo CPU is still doing, all of the main work. Saying you go this way, you run this routine. So it's still doing a decent amount of work. Like I say, you're not going to see a difference like Star Fox to the Star Fox 21 megahertz upgrade that you can find on ROMhacking.net. But you will notice some difference on Super FX games. A little bit of a boost,
Yeah,
especially
sure.
controlled.
I'm gonna move to something that I played a lot growing up, so I kind of know where the slowdown is, and that is not in hacks. FastROM. Here we go. Aladdin.
Oh, yeah.
I have a feeling the result of this is like whenever I encounter a spot where I'm used to slowdown, I'm probably gonna die.
Oh, wow, okay. How's the input difference on this one? This game's kind of floaty in its original version. I mean, not in a bad way, but you get big, lofty jumps in this game.
What was really cool about this game is that it was actually written for FastROM. The developers did it all right, all coded for FastROM, and then at the last minute, the publishers must have pulled out because it cost a little bit extra to put FastROM on a cart, and it ended up being slow-ROM. So to convert it was pretty easy. Just had to go in there and flip the 1 bit basically, and away we go. 5-minute job.
And what's infuriating about that is that it had. I mean, I don't know what the actual cost difference is, but it had to be something like it was like $1 a card or like something like that. But at the
I've
scale
heard
of it,
between 50 cents and $5. I'm willing to bet it was more toward the 50-cent range.
that's wild.
But
Is there a chance that switching to FastROM changes like any timings in terms of like the game's code?
I have had just a few games, maybe 1 or 2, that actually I had to figure out how to use the SPC debugger, which is basically the sound engine, because there were mistimings between the sound and the emulation, and the game would actually freeze. So I had to. It took a long time, but figure out how to retime the numbers, and then and miraculously when it booted, I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, I think like I think what I'm wondering is like there's a couple of things that I can't tell if it's just because like because of how it's how it's the speed of the game, but there's times where like I'll make a jump, and this is a game that like I had 7 Super Nintendo games growing up, and this is the one I probably played the most. So I have a very specific path that I go through the game. And I'm used to just bouncing off of certain enemies. And like there was a couple of the window guys, the timing didn't seem like it was exact, and that's more what I mean. Is if it could change routines at
I mean,
all.
you're gonna notice that if things have been affected by the slowdowns, then yeah, you're gonna notice, that the responsiveness will come with small differences like that.
Right, right.
But nothing will go faster than 60 frames per second, at least.
I've heard that some games at this era are designed around the slowdown. Do you ever, when you're turning the FastROM on, or do you ever see unintended effects that aren't necessarily related to speed?
A few things I've seen. Top Gear has this weird problem where with FastROM, the title screen takes about 30 seconds for the Top Gear thing to kind of swirl in. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, you can't even see the starter options buttons. So a couple weird things. Yoshi's Island right now is a thing where when you collect coins, they leave little blank spaces behind them until you go off screen and go back on. So yeah, there are a few things. Nothing that I would really complain about, but can't get all of them perfect.
Sure. Now, would that be a project where you would expect you or maybe someone else to go in and try to tinker with the code, or?
I would hope so. I mean, if anybody's ever interested, I am always more than willing to post my source codes, and I may just put a GitHub up for the ones that do have issues in case somebody thinks about going in there and fixing them. I'll look into doing that.
That's very cool. Do you find a lot of people are working in this space in the ROM hacking community? I mean, you yourself are putting up a ton of numbers, so.
There's a lot of people. Most people work on what they enjoy and what they want to do. Everybody seems to have a different kind of project. To get people interested in doing what I'm doing is pretty hard because people only have so much free time, and if you're good enough to ROM hack, usually you want to focus on what makes you happy or whatever project you're on right then and there. Because you don't want to work on something that's you're not going to get any joy from.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I found that there's a decent amount of people out there. Not not as many as I'd hope, but and they're all, I wouldn't say all of them, but most of them are pretty great people. Very generous, very helping. Great community.
Yeah, I mean, you're really giving of your time, frankly, for people like us who just get to sit here and enjoy your work. It is a genuine accomplishment to have this stuff out here.
I've enjoyed other people's work for so many years. It feels good to give back. And people have been very, very generous on my Patreon, trying to help me get a mystery unit so that I can really test these things. So that is motivation. Like I can't even describe how much I just want to sit in front of a computer and bang out FastROM hacks.
That is awesome. So,
Yeah,
I got
this
the
is tight.
impression just from reading that you choose your projects with the help of your Patreon folks. Is that true?
Yeah, usually they make requests, and people that pay more, I try to put theirs in top priority. It all depends on also how complex the game is. Like if it's an RPG or something like that, that's like a few days, few weeks project because you actually have to go through, and there's more to go through. But a lot of these requests were simple shooters, shoot 'em ups, or first generation Super Nintendo games. So I just try to bang out the easier ones and the more well-known ones, and also just trying to keep everybody happy.
Dang, you're doing a good job. There's a lot of games with some FastROM work on them. Mike showed me the database earlier and was like, "Hey, do you know any of these?" And it took me a minute to get through. To be frank.
Yeah. Some
I
of them,
pre
like I've played before, but I couldn't pin down any slowdown, which is probably just because I haven't played them enough. But
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these games you may only notice slowdowns in one or two levels, in one or two areas. But I like these games running optimal.
yeah, for sure. And I can tell you right now, this is a huge difference in Aladdin specifically.
That's awesome.
What's the
I
biggest
mean,
difference for you? Sorry, I didn't mean to
I've
cut you
done
off, Candy.
I've done some games that I don't even think have any slowdowns, and it's just like, why not?
There's um, not that I have to play through this entire game, but there's like a lot of slowdown on the final boss
Mm.
that I'm like super interested in.
Are you
Um,
noticing big differences in input? Like,
yeah,
I
and so
mean,
there's a lot of there's just certain times where there's a lot of sprites on the screen or something. Like I notice a lot. It happens a lot when I've got the carpet out, and I don't think that that's because of the carpet. I think it just happens to be at points where I'm normally using the carpet. If that
sure,
makes any sense.
sure, yeah, yeah.
But what? So what's the difference? I mean, we kind of know the difference between slow and fast ROM. I know this isn't something you've been directly working on, or maybe you have. But what's the difference between these and an SA1 hack like Vitor's been working on?
Yeah, no, I do get that question a lot. And SA1 is a specialty chip like the Super FX, but the SA1 kind of replaces the CPU. So the first question I get a lot about SA1 is, well, can you enable fast ROM on things that have SA1? And the answer is no, for two reasons. The first is I hear there are some compatibility issues, but the major reason is SA1 is a replacement of the CPU functions. It does things instead of the Super Nintendo CPU. It's also about 3 times faster than FastROM. It runs at about 10 megahertz or so. The conversion process for that, though, is extremely overwhelming. There's a lot of different things that go on there, a lot of things you have to turn on and off in order to use that chip. You have to relocate things. There's different kinds of RAM. There's just it's mind-blowing how much it actually takes to do an SA1 conversion. And I hope to learn it one day, but yeah, I don't think it's going to happen tomorrow.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that especially with I would say with the games that benefit from the fast ROM conversion, and with this game alone, how much they seem to benefit from fast ROM. I not
Yeah,
to say anybody's work is more important than anybody else's. It's not what I mean, but I would say this is almost a better use of your time at this point.
I think so. I can bang these out nice and quick, and granted there are going to be some games like Magical Poppin' that will still have slowdowns and could use SA1, and hopefully other people step up to the plate and do those. I know there is one guy who managed to do Mega Man X. I don't know how he did it, and sadly he says he lost the source code.
Oh,
But
heartbreaker.
being that somebody else did it, and it's released. You can still get the patch. But being that someone else did it, I have a little bit of faith that maybe it's not impossible.
Yeah.
So if somebody were interested in doing this sort of like ROM hacking, let's just say for the SNES, so that we have an example, what kind of stuff would they have to learn? I mean, obviously you're getting into the code of the game itself, which is already going to be a lot for a lot of folks who are just used to putting a cartridge in a slot.
Yeah, there is really a lot that goes into it. I mean, the easiest part of the game is the disassembly. It's just recording the data. But when it comes to actually doing the conversion, I mean, there are so many curveballs that it will throw you that, I mean, for example, in one of these games, they had a routine that they seemed to run about in 500 different places or so. So they probably used a macro, but they took some numbers, threw it onto something called the stack, and then decided to do the command to jump back to the routine that called that routine. But because they pushed some numbers on the stack, it actually jumps to a new address instead. And for me to backtrack all of those, it's just to understand what was going on with it and figure it out and find all of them. For me, who's been doing, I've done 40 plus games so far, that took me about an hour and a half just to kind of figure out something like that. So there's a lot of different curveballs. You have to also be able to use a debugger and know what you're looking for as far as things that may shut off the what they call the bit that turns FastROM on and off. There's a lot of times code that's hidden in there that will just randomly shut it off in the middle of the game. So track those down and stop those from happening. There are other ones that want to run their code in slow ROM. Unless you've really had some experience with that, it's hard to jump into something like that. It's a lot easier to learn, I think, the assembly code to start off with, and just modify games before you start doing something like this.
And assembly itself is pretty hard, right? I mean, sorry, I didn't mean to cut it off, but that's not going to be a familiar language to a lot of people.
No, and I mean, the fortunate thing is it's pretty similar to Nintendo's assembly language, so anybody who's ever modded Nintendo games, it's decently easy to switch over, but yeah, it's not so much understanding, what the commands do, but understanding how flows work, how, logical choice. Load this, if it's this or less, go here, otherwise do this, and kind of just being able to understand how to direct the flow and make things jump the right way. It's a lot of intuitive and just kind of, I guess it's a common sense that some people have. It makes it easier, I guess. I'm not sure.
Well, I'm sure the experience doesn't hurt either.
That's true. I think I found the best way to do it is find something that's fully working and just tinker with it.
Oh, interesting. I appreciate that vibe right there, because I do think it's best to learn.
There's a Super Mario Bros. Disassembly out there, and just one file, you double-click one file, and it makes the ROM, and, the code there is very well labeled. So it's a good place to start to go in and just kind of learn some basic ASM commands, load this number, store it here, compare it, and, just kind of go from there.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Of course.
I forgot how good you are at this game, Mike. This is ugly. Oh, I just cursed her ass, didn't I? Oh, come on. Nice.
No, we're good. We're good. No worries. I am getting kind of screwed because I somehow I don't have any apples. Like, I feel like I usually have apples by this point. It's because it's the French version.
They took the apples out.
I'm way better at the US version.
I love that apples are your main ammunition.
So you mentioned your Patreon folks were looking into saving up to grab you a Mister. Is that sort of the next big thing to add into your pipeline?
Yeah, I just a lot of people will come up. Does this work on Mister? How does this work on Mister? How do I get this working on Mister? And I never have an answer for them. So it would be nice to have one. I don't know what else it can do, but I know at the very least I can now confirm compatibility with them. I think it's going to run somewhere around 300 to 450, something like that. They're pretty expensive.
Yeah.
So, but fortunately, I think in about 3 or 4 months I should be good.
Sweet.
That'd be excellent.
And folks, if you're here watching, please run on over to that Patreon and throw him a little bit of support if you could.
I appreciate all your support.
Speaking on, I'm sure behalf of Mike, having this stuff work on Mister would be incredibly sweet. And not that it's not sweet already.
I think most of them, from what I hear, do work. But, the ones that don't, I'd like to maybe figure out, okay, why? Maybe I can do something about it. Who knows? I've been known to do some crazy stuff.
Yeah, I should say. Do you think, that there's a possibility that could lead to some core development? Or would you kind of stick to the ROM hacking?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
I said, do you think there's a possibility that, you getting your hands on a Mister could lead to some core development, or...?
I doubt it. You never know. I mean, I may dabble in it, but, something like that may be over my head. I never know. I mean, I'm the kind of person that, if I really want to do something, and I sit there, and I'll usually figure it out. So, maybe.
Like stunt race. I think I sent the tweet thread of you being like, yeah, sorry, it's just not gonna happen, and then 5 minutes later posting it.
As soon as I posted that, I'm like, let me just, I was gonna. The problem is with that game was there's a lot of RAM in there, and this particular game decided to write a lot of code directly to RAM and run it from the RAM. The problem with that is when I disassembled the game, none of that disassembled. So I couldn't see any of the code running in RAM in my text file, so I couldn't fix any of them. So I thought that I was going to have to sit there and I was like, all right, I'll go through, and it's probably going to take me a couple of weeks I probably was going to do, a few dozen a day and just kind of fix one by one by one by one. And then something hit me. I realized they were all using the same kind of routine, same two routines. So I made something that added it globally, all those routines. Instead of running it, I had it add 80 to the bank number and then run it. And then that took care of 97% of the problems right there.
Awesome.
That explains that note we found earlier, Mike.
Maybe 10 more things to fix, and then it was done. I was like, oh, okay. All right. Sometimes it's like sometimes you go to the doctor and you feel better, where you bring your car to the shop and the check engine light goes off.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, I work in IT, so I definitely have somebody puts in a ticket, and the second I get there, it's working fine.
Oh, yeah.
That's because I work with a bunch of liars.
I do point of sale IT. Yeah, thankfully I have a lot of downtime, so we'll do a lot of this stuff at work.
Oh, that's great.
Nice.
Do you want to talk a little bit about Super Mario Kart Deluxe and how your involvement kind of came about?
Yeah, I mean, I've known Mr. L probably since I started doing the Star Fox thing, just because, I'm huge into ROM hacking, and when Giggly came out, Mario Kart had a few betas that came out I was excited about, but also a couple of alphas, but they were there just in kind of little bits and pieces. And this guy made his own assembler, wrote his own assembler from scratch, and somehow got these little skeleton bones together to create a working prototype of a couple of alpha builds, the November 1991 build. And just he's always been impressed with my work in Star Fox, so we've always talked. We've always been in close, and he's wanted me on the project because all the work I did with Star Fox, he was impressed with my code. And it's just me, him, and Scalby's the other guy. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not doing much. The code for that game is extremely overwhelming, and the amount of customization these guys are doing and how professional it looks is beyond anything I've ever seen before.
Oh, sure. I've been watching it for quite a while and just like salivating.
The best part is a lot of this coding is being done by Scout B, who claims he's not a programmer. This Freddy guy.
I've seen that. Yeah.
He's doing more programming that is blowing me out of the water. Just like, how are you doing this? I can't describe it. It's the code for Mario Kart is way more complex than Star Fox than anything I've ever seen.
That surprises me. I would have. I mean, if I had to make an uneducated guess, I would have said the Star Fox would be more complicated.
Yeah, well, I mean, granted, the Super FX code may be a little bit more complex, but in general, the general overall running of Mario Kart, there's a lot of math, a lot of subroutines, and the way the code is written with the compiler is also pretty unique. You have to kind of get used to that.
I think we're very close to Snake Time.
Yeah, I'm thankful they invited me on board. I don't know if, right now I'm pretty much just a cheerleader, but I did do a few things. I did a anti-epilepsy mode for the lightning bolt, so that epilepsy kind of slowed down the flashing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I also added a Kando mode, of course. Which lets you float and go super fast and use any item you want with key shortcuts. All sorts of fun stuff.
Yeah, the Kando mode is criminal in Star Fox. Like, I think you've always been like very clear. You're like, these options will break the game. It's not a question of when it crashes, or if it crashes, it's when.
I think my favorite is all at once mode, where literally there's no delay between anything spawning, so everything spawns back to back, and the boss shows up like instantly. Everything slows down to 3 frames per second.
And being able to set the size of the models to be larger than the playable area of the screen.
Oh god. A lot of these happen just people mentioning things like I was on the romhacking.net server showing like one of my latest mods I did, and somebody said big head mode was kind of referencing NBA Jam. And I said, you know what? That's a good idea. Next thing you know, I'm like, is there a way I can do this globally? I dug at it. I had to modify the Super FX code a bit. I tell you, I hate working with Super FX code, but it's satisfying when it works in the end.
You sure did a lot of it for somebody who hates it.
When you gotta get something done, you gotta get something done.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, here we go. Right after this screen, it's the true test. Really wish it wasn't at the end of the game, but here we are.
You kind of ripped through this thing.
Oh. It's been a while since I've been this deep in the game, though.
Mm. You're just unfamiliar with the French version. It's a lot of changes.
It's true. Yeah, I'm gonna get smoked this time, I think.
Is it that you get to the 3-piece?
Yeah. But, like, I'm trying to, like, do the shortcut, because you can bounce off these guys and hit them.
Oh, can you?
But I'm doing a very poor job of that.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah.
Or not.
Speedrunners are gonna hate my FastROM patches because they're, frame perfect but don't work anymore.
It does really change things. Like, I'm not a speedrunner, but I do have habits. I'm not a speedrunner, but I have needs. Oh,
Putting that one on your tombstone, my friend.
Yeah.
Not a speedrunner, but I have habits.
I already told Candy that my tombstone is going to have dumb but enthusiastic. They don't even give me any apples after you die.
Or do you use apples on Jafar?
I would use apples to blow these, like, get rid of these guys. Like the pot. sometimes you can like damage boost off of him, and it'll bounce you up high enough that you can get a hit.
How many hits do you need, though?
Too many.
Yeah, it looks like it. Capcom SNES boss forever.
Is that like hashtag girl boss, like hashtag SNES boss?
Yeah, you know me. I'm hashtag girlbossing every day. So, Jafar, not a girl boss. Did not earn it. The parrot worked harder.
He's just a floaty boy.
That's right.
This has got to be it. Come on.
He spends that entire movie hanging out next to people. But that was it, though. Hey, all right, all right. Show me this snake, baby.
A snake, am I? Perhaps you'd like to see how snake-like I can be. It's just that's a little bit for all my Jafar heads out there.
It sounded like you got trapped in an SNL sketch from 1978. It's just like, I don't know, Martin Short in a snake costume repeating that over and over again.
Bet you didn't know that Aladdin could wave dash. So yeah, just when these two eggs come out, the game just chugs.
This looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
I'll tell you, a lot of these crappy games, they really went all out on the final pieces. Like, that makes up for everything.
I know we were
Not
loving.
bad.
Ooh, this is nice. I've never seen this boss, so this is beautiful. Just murked city.
Bot is running very independent from that.
Are you teabagging Jafar?
Listen. Alright,
That would have been a much better ending to that movie.
Alright, what else did I... Alright, we got Yoshi's Island here. I definitely want to see the graphical issues.
We should definitely play Flying Hero at some point in time.
We should play Flying Hero. I have to switch over to Beast Nest for that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I did forget that I told you that was going to be the main event for tonight, and then we haven't touched it at all.
No, not once. That's okay. Flying Hero is a good game.
That second level has got some, like, I'm probably going to turn on a cheat. Because they just put you in this tiny little tunnel and throw rocks the size of the tunnel down it.
Yes, SNES shooters, for whatever reason, are just, that is life on hard mode. Every day.
Oh my god, I accidentally reset.
Away.
The mod that takes the baby voice out of this game, mwah, mwah.
Can't believe how many downloads that thing.
That's the other question too. Is that what if say somebody were to take one of your FastROM hacks? What would have to be done for like an existing ROM hack to work on it? Would it have to be rewritten or?
What my hack does is replaces simple numbers in a routine, like jump to this bank at this spot. I just change what the bank is. It all depends on how extensive the hack is. If they're changing a lot of the main core routines, it's not going to be compatible. I would have to redo it. If they're, just adding on onto the extra data and, just kind of changing some routines, no problem. A lot of times you can apply them on each other and it'll work fine. Worst case, if it does work fine, some of the code may run in slow ROM, but the bulk of it will still be running in fast ROM, so you won't notice much of a difference in speed.
Gotcha. So it might be a case of just try it and see what happens.
Yeah, trial and error, case by case basis.
Yo, we got raided. Did you see that, Mike? We've
Did
been
we?
raided.
No, I don't have the chat up.
We've been officially raided. What do we do?
Oh,
Do we start throwing our books out the window?
I think we quit. I think we've made it.
I see Pugberto. Pugberto.
We've been raided by Vaughn. We've got people in the chat. We've got pug emojis. We've got gay hearts. I don't know who Vaughn is, but I like the way he rolls.
That's excellent. Thank you.
More Pugberto.
Howdy, y'all. Says we got a suggestion from Steve to raid us. Oh God, who's Steve and why is he giving recommendations? Thank you for stopping by. That's sweet. Time Theft Jess says you gotta flush your drugs down the toilet when you get raided. Not on a Twitch raid. Don't do that. Waste of good drugs, folks.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I noticed a difference here.
Definitely. That is not how fast that boulder goes in the normal version at all. Well, shout out to Steve for looking out after us. That's sweet. Dreams of Vaughn says, apparently y'all are wholesome, and wholesome is right up our alley. Hope your stream has been going good. We've been tarred with the brush of wholesome. Well, we appreciate that. Thank you. We'll do our best not to ruin it immediately. We are with a game modder tonight, folks, and he works on SNES games, modifying them to get them to work with different chipsets so that you can end up with different types of performance on these older games. So we've been checking out a bunch of these mods, and these mods will kind of illustrate why they're so interesting as we're going through, because some of these games have huge differences in performance.
I am noticing like the music dropping out every like.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's weird. I mean, like,
Yeah,
it's...
I'm gonna post this one to GitHub and see if anybody can, fix these little nuances.
Yeah, for sure. I honestly, like, even with, like, little issues like that, I would much prefer to play this version of the game.
Does it feel better?
It feels way better.
Oh, God.
It feels like blast processing.
So this is my favorite game on the system, and I love this game to death. I didn't know it could feel better. I'm excited. I'm gonna get my hands on this shit, and I'm gonna go buck wild. Unless it doesn't work on the Mister, and then I do not know what I'm gonna do.
Okay, if you give me half a second, I can switch over to Flying Hero.
So just to give some context for the people on the stream, what Mike is going to be doing is switching to a different emulator to play this new game, Flying Hero, for the Super Nintendo. And that's a part of the process that you've been helping Kando with, right?
Yeah. So we tried to get the same like debugger to work on my machine, and there's some weird issues with how it connects to BSNES and which like localhost address it tries to use. And so it's kind of a crapshoot as to where it's going to work and where it's not. It didn't work on my machine. So the solution is recording a video of gameplay in BSNES, and then Kando could just play that back and run that through his debugger.
And that'll log the code basically as valid, and we'll get a disassembly.
So you can get code just straight from viewing a video like that? Like once it's run through your programs?
Yeah, because what a video technically is key inputs being played back. It's not actually like an AVI video. It's just key inputs and a state of where the game was when it started. And basically, I replay exactly how he played it.
Okay, that makes sense.
Poorly.
I'll be back in like 5 minutes, guys.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Jaime in the chat asked, can you run these ROM hacks on OG hardware if you were to flash a cart? And that is what Mike was doing, right?
Yeah, they all run, because that's the thing, is it's not, there's no editing to like the emulator or no changing of like how the base system works, right? These are hacks to use a FastROM chip, which was available at the time. It absolutely is something that publishers could have chosen to release these games like this, and they didn't. So there's no reason why you wouldn't be able to run this on original hardware. Let's see.
Steve says, "Thanks, man. Game Crimes is so unique; it deserves more exposure." Thank you very much, and thank you, Vaughn, for stopping by. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
That shit's sweet. Nice to meet y'all. So I think one thing that might be interesting while we're waiting for Kando to come back and while we're waiting for the emulator to pop up is to go through a list of games that have already gotten this FastROM conversion, because I think there's some interesting shit here.
There is, for sure.
We've got Mega Man X2 and X3, and I believe he mentioned there was an X FastROM that was done by a third person. So if you're into those Mega Man X games, you know that they all have incredible slowdown whenever any part of the background is being destroyed. SimCity, which... if it's anything like SimAnt, I bet the differences will be more significant than we realize. Because SimAnt felt very different. Frankly.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm going to throw this one out here. Rock and Roll Racing is one of my favorite games. It's the game I grew up playing with my dad as a child. So it's like a one that's very close to my heart, and I'm super excited to crack into this thing. Well, in addition, we've got Final Fight, Darius Twin, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I believe that's the beat 'em up by Hudson. That's a good game. ActRaiser. What else do we got here? The Ninja Warriors, a great beat 'em up. Shin Niketsu Kuha. It's a Kunio game, so River City Ransom style. Super Adventure Island, which I believe is like a Metroidvania. As well as Pocky and Rocky 2. That's sweet. I love Pocky and Rocky. And you can find this list with a bunch of other games on it by searching for the Kando Want to FastROM list.
Yep, I'm back. If you go to my Twitter, you'll see it pinned right to my profile too.
Perfect. You've got a heck of a body count here. Are there anything that you've tried to work on that just like you've had to throw out?
One of them I had like anything that says sudo. I think I have two of them that say sudo. I could not get everything over FastROM.
Gotcha.
Aside from that, I haven't actually had to throw away any projects yet. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think you should be able to see the stream of the game in Discord, and it looks like it is up on the stream. So.
Yep, we are live with Flying Hero.
I'm gonna do you a favor. I'm not gonna start recording this until after we get to get past that get to that stage again. Rather.
Are you gonna use any cheats or no?
I probably will, but not until I get some validation in front of an audience of how fucking hard that spot is. Let's see. System controller port is gamepad. Why are my buttons not working? Did I not select it? There we go. Didn't have the window in focus.
No shame. Like I said, I suck at games too, apparently.
What's that?
I said no shame. I suck at games too, apparently. Either that or these Nintendo era games are actually pretty hard.
The difficulty scale's definitely gone down over the years. Your opinions on it vary, but some of these old SNES games, you're pretty lucky if you get past the 3rd or 4th level.
Like Super Adventure Island, Bubsy, like one hit, you're dead. Gotta start the whole level over.
Yep. This game's got a feature in it that I think the first time I'd ever seen it was in Glaylancer on Genesis, but you can hit select to change the speed of your ship. And you can cycle through like fast and slow. And I just got...
As a bunch of shooter-ups I've seen that have that.
Yeah.
Has that.
Oh my god.
Better than Gradius, where you speed up too much and touch the screen.
Or you die in front of like a bad checkpoint where there's no opportunity to speed up fast enough. Yeah, I've got a real love-hate relationship with Gradius.
It's mostly just anger-based.
Yeah. I say love-hate. It's just hate.
I mean, I have fond memories as a kid, but I don't think I ever actually beat the game.
No, I think if you beat Gradius 3, they crowned you like king of the schoolyard, and you got like $300 or something.
I have like memories that I did beat it, but I've not been able to do it since, which leads me to believe that that's just like a repressed memory type situation.
A repressed memory.
Well, it's because it's like either I did beat it or I have depression. So like, you know.
That's not a win-win situation. You kind of
Right?
framing it like one. But I do like the idea of going to a therapist and then just talking about all your repressed memories, listing off all the SNES games you beat. Yeah, I beat Axley, I beat Hagain, I could... This is like the most TurboGrafx game ever that's not on the TurboGrafx.
Yeah, that's for sure.
God, the flickering is awful.
Do you find that like your venture into ROM hacking has kind of like ruined certain games for you, and that like you notice things like that, and it makes it harder to enjoy things in a bubble?
Yes, it does.
Oh.
I'm completely ruined. I never really noticed these slowdowns before, but now I can't watch a Super Nintendo video by anyone and not, be like, oh my god, that game's going slow. That game's chugging.
Let me get in there. Let me get in there.
How did QA, how did their lot check let these things get released? I don't get it. Hook was pretty bad. So many slowdowns on that game.
I will say this game's great because I just like personally hate monkeys.
You're getting a lot of feelings out right now?
Yeah, this is therapy.
This game is very pretty. I mean, the sprite work itself is very, very nice for this kind of
nice
thing.
Backgrounds, very saturated.
A lot of character.
Yeah.
Especially in the enemy sprites. So is this a special request from someone on Patreon?
Yep. Yes, it is.
The SNES library is so large. I'm always amazed when I've found something and it's just like totally new to me, like this one.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love getting these Japanese game requests because I have not heard of probably a single one that I've been requesting, and they're all pretty awesome.
That's sweet.
Like so many new games I'm learning, and obviously I'm using cheats just to run everything, so I'm able to actually enjoy the scenery and stuff like that, and not worry about dying.
I'm not worried about dying. See, I do it like it's nothing.
You're actually really good at it. The outline work on the background there is wild.
That's like some mode 7 or something. That's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Especially with the distortion of it. Oh my gosh.
Where are those cheats at?
Yeah, that's right. Now, chat, let's give him props. Thank you, Mike. You did great. You got to the first boss. Let's take care of the ego part, and then Mike, you cheat as much as you can.
I have a recording of me beating that level. Okay. I did it once.
Make sure you make this one a separate recording. Mark it with which cheat you use.
Yeah, I didn't record it all. At that point, because I figured you already had me attempting the first level. Where did you say I should grab that cheat from?
Gamehacking.org. Shout outs to them because they are awesome.
Yeah, I'm not familiar.
What a lot of people don't know, what I didn't know until recently, is Game Genie hacks are actually ROM hacks. When you put a Game Genie code in, it's actually changing the code in the game. It's not changing like a RAM variable, like how many hit points you have. You always have 20. Now it's actually doing something like in the code that says, okay, when you hit this point in the floor, jump to the death routine. Well, the Game Genie code can say, don't jump to the death routine. So you can, recently, and I don't know how recent it is, but probably from the past 3 years, there's been the Game Genie codes I thought I'd never see, like jump in midair, no death by falling through the floor, and I've started to make my own too, because now that I'm
Eh,
hacking, say,
you know,
okay, change one thing.
it's interesting that you bring that up because I kind of discovered that that as a kid using ZSNES because you could search for values and then you'd play a little bit till the value changed and then search for that value
Yeah,
again and eventually
and
you would
those were
identify
decent.
what address it was.
And
Uh,
those are RAM. Those are RAM hacks.
oh,
And
okay.
Pro Action Replay actually modified RAM hacks. But Game Genie actually modifies ROM, which is the actual code that runs in the code. Like, load this and then compare it to this and then jump here. Well, you can modify the jump here line to say, okay, jump here, or just make that line do nothing. So you'll never die.
Oh,
So
sure.
I'm wondering how Gloob actually made the original codes, because they had to probably debug or get these codes from game developers.
And you said I need one that starts with 7E.
Yeah, that's a random.
Okay. Let's just test to make sure that works. Get the mouse off the screen. Yeah, because you've probably got plenty of examples of me dying already.
Now, if there's one thing I've learned, it's is never too much. You never know when some edge case routine runs.
Oh, that's true. Okay, so yep, I'm a god now.
Feel good? Do you like being a god?
Powerful.
If I'm being honest, I feel cheap.
Just remember, this is for research purposes. It's okay.
That's true. That's true. We're doing work here. We're not.
That's right.
This isn't a
Yeah,
game.
You're technically an engineer now.
We're not playing for pleasure.
And that's how I'm going to report this on my taxes.
Why did your accountant calling you back be like, Mike, why did you send me an 8.5 by 11 that just says I'm not doing this for pleasure?
No, this is my accountant's orders. He makes me send him a game of the year list. Every April.
My accountant texts me in the middle of the night to ask me what the best East game is. So, Mike, the developer of this game is Sting Entertainment. You played another one of their games this year. Do you know which one?
I don't.
Ooh. It's a roguelike. You rogueliked it.
Oh, is it Sheeran?
No, it is
Oh.
Baroque.
Oh, okay.
So Sting Entertainment worked on Baroque a couple of years after this one. They're a pretty unique little developer. They've only made really weird or really pretty games. There's like no in between.
You don't think
Probably-
Baroque was pretty?
I think Baroque is gorgeous, but I'm also a weirdo with really strange tastes. So, if you're not into like the corpses with heads sticking out of it, your mileage might vary. I think the corpses are neat.
Kando, have you played Baroque?
No.
June? What's the elevator pitch you would say for Baroque?
First-person roguelike that takes place in a couple of different circles of hell at the same time. So it's mostly just like grotesque imagery, lots of body horror. But if you're into equipment management and caring about how much eating food you have to do, it's a great game.
Pretty it's similar like ambiance to Dark Souls, I would say.
What system is it?
PS1 if you don't hate yourself, PS2 if you do.
Well, the Wii one especially, if you hate yourself, that has motion controls.
Oh god.
The original is a first-person shooter, or I guess shooters in quotes, but it's got that really nice early PS1 Kingsfield style look, where it's a little abstract and the polygons are a little broad. The PS2 version is essentially a remake in modern shonen anime style, and it takes a lot of the vibe out of the game.
Well, this game's easy now. That's weird. When you can just, like, sit right in their face to get the spawn rate of your bullets up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, why don't speedrunners just cheat?
Honestly.
God.
Well, some
They
of them
do at
do.
that. Farm Guy Steve says, and there goes wholesome. We did not deserve that in the first place. As much as we appreciate your evangelism, we are disgusting people, and we will prove that to you. Oh, the bears are so cute!
Yeah, no, the bears rule.
Oh, I love those guys.
Skill monk.
Oh, wait till you see this next boss. So, June, you haven't played this game before?
Mm-mm.
Oh, yeah, wait till you see this boss. I
Yeah?
love it. I'm obsessed with this boss, actually.
Is it the whole level?
No.
Okay.
What?
You walk down one hallway. Oh my god!
What is that supposed to be?
it's a rock man.
I like him because he looks the way I feel.
We're about to, as far as I was able to get.
Japanese games are a little weird sometimes.
I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed by this game. It's very pretty, very fun.
Mm-hmm.
The boss fights so far have been, I want to say impressive. I mean, we've had 2 really nice uses of Mode 7.
Yeah.
God, I hate to compare it, but almost like Gunstar Heroes, where like every level is showing off something a little different.
I can see where it's chugging along here and there.
Mm-hmm. Have you noticed like any big moments of slowdown yet, Mike?
I haven't, but it's like I don't know that my eye is very good for it. It's got to be pretty pronounced for me to notice it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, these are... We got ground monkeys now you gotta worry about.
Oh, I hate the ground ape. I do not respect him.
Hey,
So this guy's was not the problem. I was able to kill this guy. But then you get in here, this is as far as you can go. Like,
Okay.
mercifully, you don't die by crashing into the walls. But he does this thing where he's like, just sending these rocks down. And because I have like full power up, I'm able to blast him, but like, you can't be sure you're gonna have that. And then you hit a rogue power up and you don't have it anymore. But, like, that's incredibly hard to dodge.
Wow.
This is literally the second level of Gunstar Heroes. Like, down with the wall walking attack pattern and everything.
I think it's you probably have to have like the right weapon setup to be able to take that.
Well, in this game, it just means having several tiny children, right? Like, those are your weapons?
Yeah. Okay, so this should be where I record. There we go.
How is that ape not the boss?
You're not
Oh
using
my
the
God.
cheat anymore?
No, I'm still using it.
Oh.
Do you want me to turn it off?
No.
Because I'll turn it off. I'm not afraid.
No.
This boss rules. Wait a minute.
Oh man, this whole night's been leading up to this moment. The hell?
Yes.
Watch this at 12:30 at night.
Oh, what time zone are you in?
Eastern.
Oh, okay.
Now I'm getting no sleep.
Oh, don't let us keep you. If you have to drop off at any point, feel free.
No, it's that cat. The cat's burning.
Oh, I see. Yeah. God, the fact that it like has that there's no cooldown on that meow sound effect is like, yo, as much as you can get that out there, go for it.
That boss fight made me feel like the melatonin's really gonna be hitting tonight.
All of that was for Act 2.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know how many acts there are.
Provide Blitz says this is giving me Dynamite Heady vibes. Respect.
I can see it.
Yeah. Farm Guy Steve
I'm just
says
gonna
my
take
cat
a
makes that
guess.
sound.
There's either 5 or 8. I'm gonna guess 5.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. I'm gonna look it up right now. Mike, give me your bid. Price is Right style.
For what? For how many?
Number of acts.
6.
6. Okay, right. I'm going big. I'm going 12. I don't think I'm right, but I gotta pick a number. Of course, there's a game fact for this game. There has to be.
If you're just joining us, I
Oh!
am not playing with cheats.
Surprisingly, I've converted a couple games that had no cheats at all out there to actually make my own.
Oh wow.
That's cool. The number of acts in this game is 8. 8 was the winning number.
8. Wow.
Damn.
That's right.
Oh, I said 5 or 8. That's right.
That's right. You get to play Plinko now.
That's exactly right. It is at least 40.
Well, that weapon seems sweet.
Yeah, this weapon's good. I've never gotten it. I've never gotten it to level 3. I've only had like the one in the center that keeps getting long and short, and that's not great because you can never really you can never be sure you're gonna hit something.
Like a slinky.
The way that you upgrade your weapons is by getting 3 of the cupcakes. In case that wasn't clear.
Are those evil penguins?
Oh, are they doing a fusion?
It just did
What?
fusion.
Oh! Oh, he's so cool!
That rules. I probably shouldn't kill him too quickly because it's probably important that he like goes through his cycle, eh?
Yeah.
Also, if you don't kill him, he might become your friend. Look at this guy.
Maybe.
Look at that jacket. We
was-
all have a lot to learn.
I was not expecting pirate bird fusion. It wasn't on my bingo card.
He's throwing rye seeds at you. Alright, take him down.
You have the kill order.
Order 66.
Oh, that wasn't the end of the level. I like the verve of just giving you a big pirate, and then moving on immediately. It shows a certain level of confidence, I think.
That wasn't even a significant part of Flying Hero's day.
No, he saw the
converted.
fusion dance and moved on instantly.
I converted an interesting game. It's called Rendering Ranger R2.
Ah, that game rocks.
It's an awesome game, but there are some levels where there's like 6 or 7 bosses back to back in one level.
Jesus.
But it's pretty cool because like half the game is like Contra and half the game's like Gradius. Pretty interesting.
Oh, I'm interested in that.
It's a beautiful game too.
Is that on our list? Can it be on our list, June?
That's on our list. Yeah, we've got that on the old roulette wheel.
Alright.
I love the boss design in this game.
That's it. This is what it does. I'll make him mad.
Shoots ice beams?
Yeah, we want to talk to you. We've got some new concepts on the sun. It does look like you're being murdered by like one of those colored golf balls you get at mini golf. Except it's got like a really horny face or something.
He's so happy to be dying.
That may be the best one. I can't wait to see the final.
Yeah.
I mean, the chat says, the time a fusion penguin attacked was the most important day of your life, but for me it was Act 3.
I have to constantly do sanity checks to make sure that I'm actually recording. Like, I wish there was some indicator.
Jaime, infinite amounts of love for Street Fighter the movie. Just, that's a bond. We just bonded over that
That
movie.
movie was a classic.
Oh, it's great. It's terrible, but it's great.
Just like Mortal Kombat.
Yes, also. How did we get lucky to get like two amazingly wacky, horribly corny action movies out of video games? I feel so
Right.
lucky. A modern Street Fighter movie would not be that fun.
No. Did you see Chun-Li?
No.
I didn't either. I got some morbid curiosity about that.
It looked pretty grim, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
It's a new movie.
10
New-
years old at this point in time, I think.
Yeah.
They made a Chun-Li movie with Kristen Kroik, is that her name? And it's basically like completely unrelated to anything Street Fighter, except Ken shows up and says hi and goes to the bar or something. It's all very not exciting. The King of Fighters movie is really bad too. If have you seen that one, Mike?
No, I've been meaning to watch those Virtua Fighter anime VHS tapes I got, though. I feel like that lore's got to be really deep.
The Virtua Fighter lore?
Yeah.
Jackie Bryant is a race car driver. His sister is named Sarah Bryant. He doesn't like driving race cars. He likes fighting.
Seriously, how deep can those storylines be?
I do know that for whatever reason, Lau, the guy with the mustache, his story is that he wants to die. Like, in the middle of a Virtua Fighter tournament.
Excellent.
That's a pretty metal way to go.
Well, this is better than that, that Fire Pro Wrestling. You hear that one? About the ending about that one? The guy beats his opponent, goes home, the guy goes home, and then shoots himself with a shotgun.
Yeah, right in the forehead.
What?
That's so dark for a Super Nintendo.
That is the only Super Nintendo game I own a physical copy of.
With good reason.
It was a gift from a friend of mine, and I was like, I can never give this away in good conscience because I can just tell people about the ending. Basically, you learn that Ric Flair has had sex with your wife at the end of that game, and you're like, damn, even if I beat Ric Flair, I have to kill myself now.
And he also killed your trainer.
That's true. Ric Flair's got a body count in that game. It's brutal.
Jesus.
It's also made by Suda51, or at least the story programming was. The combat design was still done by the main Fire Pro creator.
Did you forget you're invincible?
I did, but I was like hoping that something was going to happen. I said I did. I didn't. I was hoping something was going to happen in the boss. I didn't want to like.
Yeah.
Oh fuck!
I
The
did
best
it.
part. The best part about Fire Pro, I totally forgot. The Ric Flair analog's name is Dick Slender.
It's so bad.
It's
I think the worst is that they actually have like the sound of the shotgun going off at the end. How did Nintendo approve that?
Yeah, that's. I feel like that's got to be one of those situations where they just didn't get that far. They were like, this is like, I got a pretty good idea of the gist, and then they just slapped a rating on it, you know? Like, I realize Nintendo's not the SRB, but like, that type of thing.
It didn't get a US release either, so it would have never been, it didn't have to get through that process.
Oh.
Yeah, no, they never would have had that.
Yeah, in Japan, it's totally cool to kill yourself in a children's cartoon, so I think it's probably okay. Their censors are like, this is fine, don't worry at all.
I just like how incongruous Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just say, look at those ears.
Can you imagine if Blue's Clues came out primarily in Japan?
Oh my god.
Are you saying you want like a Blue's Clues SNES game? I could see that. Solving
No.
puzzles. No.
No, I was just talking about it being. I was thinking of it being much darker.
Oh. What does darker mean in this instance? It's a movie about answering the mail.
Blue, the murder detective.
Steve didn't go to college. He was murdered.
A clue, it's an arm.
He didn't go to college because he was murdered.
Oh, excellent pufferfish.
Oh, I like him.
Oh, you can only damage him on the Band-Aid.
That's a video game classic, and I love it. It teaches you a valuable lesson. If you're ever in a combat situation, punch someone wherever their band-aids are.
Go for the wounds.
Yeah, that's right. I only get in fights with people outside of hospitals. I said I had no idea about this Fire Pro wrestling lore. A friend of mine had it on PS2, but all we did was make our entire friend group as wrestlers. Yes, and correct. But there's only one Fire Pro with an actual storyline like that. And it was on the SNES, of all places. So even after that, they released a bajillion Fire Pro games, and they're basically just create a wrestler, the game. I mean, everything else is secondary.
Was it translated?
Yeah, it was translated. There's a good patch for it. You can play it. It's Fire Pro, so it plays like Fire Pro. Like Fire Pro has played the same for 30 years.
Right.
Which to me is a compliment, but you know, some people might not think that.
I don't think I've... Oh, that was not the end of the level.
That was...
Never is.
Oh my god.
These are long levels for a shooter, too.
This is why I felt safe saying 6, because I was like, there's no way they got 8 of these things.
I feel like, you know, they asked their friends or whatever, the developers, to make a bunch of bosses, and they just made too many.
Yeah.
We'll squeeze them all in.
Oh, okay, it was the end. They just had
Okay.
a little cutscene.
The Temple of the Sea Monkeys. I like it. Starman says, I remember there were so many rumors about why Steve left. I remember hearing he left because he was bankrupt due to a coke addiction. Whoa. I heard that too. But he left to make an indie rock album that is pretty good. I remember passing it around in high school on Memorexes.
You ever hear Rick Moranis' album?
No?
Yeah, that dude made an album.
Really?
It's like a parody, like, country thing.
That could be okay, I guess.
He had a song about how much he loves America, and then, like, the punchline is that America is what he named his truck.
That ain't bad, actually.
I mean, yeah, it's a thing to do. Ain't shit else to do.
Oh my god, look at that flickering.
Oh my gosh. You just killed a bowl of Chicago popcorn. How do you feel?
I want to kill another.
The working out demons are so cool! Chat asked, have you ever heard Macho Man's rap album? Of course I have.
Oh my god, that's
Of course. It's not. It's really bad. It was recorded when he was like 55, and there's a diss song against Hulk Hogan, another 55-year-old man.
one of those cult classics.
If you've joined a literal cult, yes. There is a song dedicated to Mr. Perfect 4 or 5 Wits, and it's a very sad Macho Man style ballad about missing the perfect friend. My buddy Mark bought it the day it came out from Best Buy. I drove him there in high school. I'm old. He's so charming. They're
So
just hanging
these
out.
blocks are actually barriers. They're not part of the background. That was
Oh,
fun
really?
for a second.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
Ooh, okay, Mike, we got to take care from the chat. Starman says the Rick Moranis album is surprisingly bad.
Yeah, no, I'm not defending it.
So not a hot take.
No, not at all. A tepid take. If you want a good country,
like one of the dudes from Animal Crossing.
like a cop, it's just a coppa, right?
Yeah.
That little bean sprout.
Yeah. Like in Animal Crossing.
You want a good parody country album? Ween's Classic Country Hits is excellent. Excellent. I think it's called Golden Country Greats or something like that. It's got some really generic title.
Ooh, you can get killed real easy from this.
Oh yeah, invulnerability doesn't do shit. Well, this turned into a maze shooter very quickly. I wonder if you die like from hitting the side without the invulnerability patch on. Oh. Yeah, Mike, I wonder if your life is in danger right now.
Yes! Oh, individual body parts have damage. Yes!
Unexpected power ring. Just grow some new arm.
A lot of people who hate this little blob guy and want to kill him with guns. Like, what did the flying hero do to deserve this? Jaime says that's a fucking Gundam over a Star of David. This game rocks. I can't disagree with that logic. Little balloons.
Got no legs.
Wish he had no arms, but it's not working out.
You're just spitting clouds at him.
Yeah, I definitely switched to like the worst weapon in the game.
Are you actually hitting him at all? Oh,
yeah,
okay,
yeah. So like this weapon is fine because it pierces, but fighting a single target, it's obnoxious.
There's no button to like change weapons.
Nope. You just gotta pick it up.
Slinky should be better.
Although, I'm just now finding out about L and R.
Oh, you can angle your shots.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that would have been great to know, like, hours ago. Literal hours. That makes him kind of even more of a chump.
Slinky thing is pretty sweet riff on the laser.
I like the idea more than I like the execution.
It doesn't feel quite right, or?
Yeah, I don't like that it gets shorter.
Oh, gotcha. I like the angling in a fight like this where you're just chasing down a small hitbox.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you gotta kind of get him to chase you in an angle to get like the most hits on it, it feels like.
Smoked, put inside a Philly blunt. Goodbye, Gundam Man. Is he not even your boss?
No, okay, I don't even report to him. Oh, this is good. This has got first level vibes. This is too green to be X6.
That is Zelda. That's a Link to the Past.
Oh yeah, for sure. Those trees are unmistakable.
That little red guy on the ground, he has a passing resemblance to Elmo.
It's telling that, like, even though I'm invincible, I feel like the game is hard now. Like, all of a sudden they started throwing a lot of stuff at me really quick.
So here's a question. Do you feel like getting the FastROM in this game is going to make it harder for you, Mike?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's usually the case with the like FastROM or like the SA1 or Gradius, like any of that stuff that makes these games like harder. I feel like you rely on the slowdown.
That's
Yeah.
probably true.
Gotta get your skills up.
Eh. Or it could not.
That boss is confusing to me. You killed like a server rack mount with hands.
A good mix. We got dragonflies, we got dinosaurs.
With as many dragonflies that they have, and then the fire that they spit out that can't be destroyed. Like those.
Wow.
This spot is brutal.
Butterflies coming at you. Beetles. Deadly beetles.
Yeah, the Beatles' bullet patterns are nasty.
Whoa, too soon.
Too soon to what?
Oh, you're talking about in-game, not the band.
The band broke up so that they could become real-life cave shooters. They just couldn't figure it out. Take enough LSD and you become a vertical shooter. Unfortunately, that's not the case. George Harrison never made a video game.
Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, but each verse is just describing a different shmup. Picture yourself in space in the big Viper.
Oh, that's nasty, Mike.
Oh, that was a cool little shatter effect.
Yeah. You're a chump. You thought you were in the ice? No, man, you're in space now. You fell for it. This witch wants you dead.
It's really rude of a game to present me with a heart orb and not let me collect it.
I just got a reply from the core developer for the Super Nintendo core for the Mister. I asked him if he's going to look into this. He said perhaps, though I wouldn't count on it.
Hell yeah!
Asked me for some more details, but sounds like just like before, it's not really a high priority. So sadly, maybe a while before those work.
Is that the same guy that's been porting Mr. Cores to Pocket?
Possibly. His name's AGG.
Yeah, I think so.
Anyway, appreciate all his work anyway. So if he gets to it, great. If not, it's free work. Get what you pay for.
For sure, for sure.
It's just more incentive to give you a Mister. Like, we just need to get you a Mister quicker. That's the key.
That's the idea.
There's a few little things like that I like. I wish that I almost said I wish I didn't have kids, and that's not what I mean. But I wish I had the time to really sink into it. Because the PlayStation Core, I'd really love somebody to bring the serial port pins out somewhere so that you could play the maybe 2 games that it matters for, and so nobody's ever gonna do it.
Yeah, you eventually you make your own downtime.
Yeah, that's fair.
It'll take a few years to get it, but night times are usually work. That and work. Thank you, work.
I guess you could always give your kids away, Mike. If you're really on that grind.
I could.
Trade him in at a Domino's or something.
It's you can just give your kids away. It's kind of like that meme that's the ducks in the park are free. You can just take them.
Yeah, exactly. The idea of not someone just giving their child away, but they're I want to get some store credit out of it.
Well, if you had our membership, you'd get more, but...
The ultimate GameStop upsell. Oh wait, you weren't a GameStop man. You were a Game Crazy man.
I worked at both.
Oh, what? I didn't know this. I thought there was
Yeah.
I thought we had a Civil War type situation going on here, my friend.
No, I did the rounds.
You're a vet.
No, I worked at Game Crazy and GameStop.
A vet of those two organizations. No?
I'm trying to like figure out a way to keep the bit going that I think you're talking about, like a veterinarian, but like it wasn't
that's
really
that's
like
what I'm going for, a veterinarian thing?
Yeah.
We're all very tired here, folks.
That's what I told people at work. That, like the other day, I was talking to somebody. I was like, if there's a way for me to misinterpret something, you better believe I'm gonna do it.
This is the first moment where you've played this game where I felt like something was off, because they just went from like fish skeleton to fish skeleton glued to second fish skeleton.
Yeah, I thought that was looking.
I do love like cute 'em ups because it's everything is fine.
Yep.
Like whatever you want to throw in. There's no style guide for these things.
That's true.
This guy kind of grosses me out a little bit.
I hate him so much.
Oh.
No, that's not okay.
No, actually the star hand thing is like kind of bringing me around to him. Now I at least want to know more.
I hate his hands so much, Mike. I cannot describe why they bother me.
Was somebody coming at you going, is that not good?
That's great. I love to aggressively have dough kneaded in my direction. Mostly I just hate his face. You know, it's not good.
We're coming up on midnight, so I think once this level's done, and it may be done now. Yep.
Yeah, that's
unless there's 8 acts, unless you want me to just finish the last act.
Let's go.
Let's go. How often do we have a gas? Let's do it, baby.
Who needs sleep?
Yeah.
That cat with 2 legs is gonna keep us up all night.
Oh god, laser statue.
This is even worse. Some scary looking thing.
Those things are traveling so fast.
Yeah, you'd be so dead if you were playing this with the cheats. Holy shit.
Wait, and let me get this fucking straight. You want to make this faster? Wait, I had to fly through the face hole?
Do you? Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I guess so. There's a pizza place like that here in Pittsburgh. Same deal.
Sometimes you just gotta fly through the face hole.
That's right. Oh, give me that brown color palette, baby.
Oh, all the orbs are coming back.
It's a very pastel, like, ritual.
Oh, wow.
He is gorgeous. My god.
Those cheekbones are kind of popping, though.
If you can hear the audio, I definitely want you to listen to his like damage sound effect.
Where's that wind coming from?
Underneath, he's clearly standing on a vent. He's like, ooh, 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 ooh.
He seems to have the exact same shoes as Mickey Mouse, just in a different color.
Is this in the Kingdom Hearts universe?
Yeah, this is the Kingdom Hearts universe. This is Xenonord or whatever.
Shoot copies himself at you.
What is the significance of the fireworks?
Those are the bombs.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Oh, look at those biceps.
Oh no!
If you have dedication and you crush it in the gym, you too can have spherical arm segments.
50 wrist curls, 50 elbow stretches. You can get there. You can have orbs.
Retractable arm.
I also hate his hands. I don't know. Maybe it's just that they look like little gloves, and that bothers me.
Why
I
have there
don't
been
know.
no crossover fighting games with the characters from the Balls games?
You're saying you want like Balls versus Street Fighter?
Yeah, Balls like Street Fighter. Balls Cross.
Balls cross Street Fighter.
God, balls in the horrible game.
Yeah, when's the FastROM of that coming out?
Right?
He said right, like with this, like an acknowledgement and a slight amount of pain. Like it could happen tomorrow.
It's one of those ones that I know I have to do, and I'm just cringing. I have to learn how to play the game, and I never figured out really what to do.
I'm gonna be that one like that one annoying patron that's like, is like, hey, can you do the Great Waldo search?
Yeah, somebody
I'm just gonna request every Mahjong game.
Every Mahjong game?
Yeah, there's gotta be more. There's a bunch on there. You know there's gotta be.
A bunch. I think there's
Somebody,
several dozens.
Yeah.
when somebody requested Simhan, so I was like, oh, Simhan. Oh, well, yeah, I'll get to that one soon.
Extreme Beavis voice going, oh god.
Well, it's, there's a lot to that game.
I'm trying to think like what the most. I want to say like painful, but maybe testing game would be probably like one of those Mario Time Machine games or something. They're adventure games and they're so long, but you don't do anything.
I'll tell you, ActRaiser was a pain to run through 100%. Mega Man X2 was a pain 100%.
Oh sure.
X3, luckily I got a guy who was like an X3 Pro who ran through it, made a recording for me.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
Did you do the boss order for X2, or did you just like...
No, I did everything. I collected all the parts, I used invincibility, so I have no problem doing it.
Oh, okay.
And, got the Hadouken, or the Shoryuken.
100% X2 is hard as well. Like, there's timing things you have to do.
For what?
Just to get, like, unlock certain, I don't know, fight certain mid-bosses before you fight.
That's with X3.
Oh, that's 3, okay.
Yeah. When I was watching his playback, I saw so many things, and I'm like, I don't remember seeing any of this when I played through it. It was like another half a game to do all the secrets.
I played
God.
my exposure to Mega Man X. Yeah, this part of the boss I can tell just sucks. My exposure to Mega Man X was the DOS version, and for whatever reason, some was jacked up on my computer, and so every time I wanted to play it, I had to reinstall it.
That's a jacked up port too. They took out the robot suits.
Yeah, the robot suits are gone.
Music stinks.
Yeah.
If this isn't the last boss, I swear.
They bring out the next boss and it's the same guy in a red cloak.
I wouldn't be surprised if they like parade out a boss made out of the credits that you have to fight.
Cute. He's crying.
Good job, Mike. You were such a pro player. That was.
I didn't take any damage.
I don't know how you did that.
Yeah.
Flawless.
Well, if you practice hard and have spherical biceps, you too.
Get your sphere game up, people. That's what we're telling you. If you learn nothing else from this conversation.
Your
He's
arms are shaped like like muscles. Mine are shaped like spheres. We are not the same.
All you have to do is be a circle with some wings.
That's right. All you need to do is steal a hat from a man from the 1910s. And you can be the hero. You
Is there any
meet an
validity to
8-year-old.
me letting the credits play out, or?
Yeah, let it play out, and then you can kill them. It's done. See if it restarts or not by itself. Some of these games you literally have to restart. Other ones have something after the credits.
Yeah, that was always the most obnoxious thing to me, because it's like I'm not done playing Mario World just because I beat the game.
Yeah, that was one of the things that actually was requested when I was doing Star Fox, was a way to restart the game after you get the credits.
Right.
Satisfying to do.
I just live in Australia. I've been in there for a very long time.
You can never escape Australia.
Press a button to experience Australia was a very ominous prompt to get.
I swear, watching streams, that is one of the greatest things to see everybody's reaction to that. They're all fantastic.
Well, none of the buttons seem to do anything at this point.
That's a wrap.
All right.
That's it, folks.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time and talking through this. This is like the type of shit that we eat up when we do these recordings. So it's always cool to have somebody involved in the scene, especially somebody who's been doing as much work as you have.
Awesome. It's been a pleasure. Let me know anytime you want me on.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Anything else you want me to play through? Send my way.
All right, you got it.
Plug through stuff.
Thanks. Let's say one thing before we log off. Go hit up his Patreon, folks. Come on now.
Yeah.
Like, we have a lot of incentive to get out there, and this is how he makes cool shit. If you want more cool shit, let's support him.
If you can't, I just appreciate you guys enjoying it. But if you can, I really appreciate it. So thank you.
Yeah, and whenever you want to slide that Super Mario Kart Deluxe alpha into my DMs, you know. Just, all right, bye, everybody.